Hey, thanks for tuning in for another episode of ReMinders. So this is the part 2 to the conversation with Cara. Really should have called the last one the pre-ramble, because this one is a lot more focused on the actual topic at hand, which is talking about our sort of spring cleaning, a reframe, reset of sorts. Basically just trying to get our external, internal environments cleaned out a little bit, decluttered, and detoxified a bit, and to just make space for bringing in the energy that we actually want to focus on and be in mindfulness of. So we get into a bunch of other topics, as tangents, but it's mostly centered around that. We get into talking about the nervous system, talking about caffeine and the way that has had its effect on mainstream society, and it's already in a long episode. I'm just gonna let you listen to it. So we get into a bunch of stuff, but it's a fun episode, and appreciate you tapping in and tuning in and listening and joining this journey with us. So thank you. So part of the action that comes from that is you and I have been talking about doing a cleanse. We've done almost annual cleanses for the entirety of our relationship, except for the past couple years.
Yeah.
Which is so ironic.
Yeah, the last couple of years it's been derailed.
It was before that, though. It was the 2019, we were looking for the house.
Yeah.
So we were in such flux. We were already in a sort of liminal space in our lives.
Being in other people's spaces too, you know. We didn't have our own space for a really long time.
To be grounded into doing something weird, not
right.
Participating in whatever was available or whatever. So the first cleanse we did was the energy healing book by the Russian, as I affectionately call her.
I just cannot remember her name.
I feel like it's Alla. I don't even know how to. That's probably that is the easy part of her name, and then her last name is just letters.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it was an interesting book.
Yeah.
But it's now at this point in my life, I don't know that I still resonate with all of that.
Right.
But the function of it was a pretty thorough cleanse, It was a month long.
Yeah.
Or was it 6 weeks?
I think it was...
I feel it was a week of prep of just eating clean.
Yeah.
And then a week of...
It was all the organ systems. So I think it was a week per organ system.
I know it went through the liver. I know it went through the
weeks.
kidney. I can't remember. Oh, the colon.
Yeah.
That's what it starts
colon.
with. There might have been 2 weeks of colon, a week of liver, and then it ended with the kidney.
Yeah.
Because I remember that, because the kidney one was when we were just eating Ezekiel bread and watermelon.
Yeah. Which was great for a couple days.
Which I actually loved. As far as a fast of sorts, I actually was fine with that.
And it was summer, so the watermelon was
hitting.
So good.
It was hitting.
It was.
And
we put
the bread was
cinnamon,
nice too, because it was grounding.
Yeah.
It gave you a little bit of sustenance to hang your sweet hat on.
Right.
And then what was the other thing you said?
When we were putting the cinnamon on the watermelon, that's so good.
Absolutely vital.
Yeah,
that was absolutely
because I was having a hard time with the bread, definitely, just because it was.
You cheated.
I did not every time, but a couple times.
Not every day.
I needed just a little bit. I just did a little bit of oil and spices, just a little bit of something to put on it.
Yeah.
Just dry bread is hard, and I needed some.
You needed
fat.
some brain food.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about how we broke that cleanse. First, I was at work before we even had our big breakfast.
Yeah.
To break our fast. I had half a cup of coffee at work. So for people that are listening, so we were off sugar, except for fruit.
Yeah.
We hadn't had caffeine in 6 weeks or whatever.
Right.
It was no alcohol, no caffeine, no sugar. That was it.
Those are the big ones. Yeah. I mean, no trans fats and stuff like that. Just
which we
fats.
already kind of eat pretty clean.
Right, for the most part.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, not throw you under the bus. It wasn't a throw you under the bus type of thing. I do. But, I don't know what all you'll eat Twizzlers and shit like that.
I mean, sometimes.
Not all the time. I'm just saying.
Yeah, not recently.
Not since Christmas.
I found the sugar-free Twizzlers.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it's like
if it's given to me or if it's around, yes, but I don't like buy it at the grocery store regularly.
Yeah, let it be known.
Yeah, just for the record.
I really wasn't trying to throw you under the bus. There wasn't something in my head, but then the more I talked, the more I just anyway. Okay, so it's none of those big things: caffeine, sugar, alcohol. Okay, so of the things I missed, sugar's fine. Like, as much as that's like probably my number one addiction, like attachment or whatever you want to call it. Like, if I'm eating fruit, it's sugar.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Like sweetness. The caffeine, dude. I miss the coffee. Over the past couple years, like, I'm really recognizing how attached I am to coffee. So I had half a cup of restaurant coffee. I was working at Moreline, and I felt like I was on drugs.
It'd be like that.
I was buzzing. I was just like, it was fun for the first like 5 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
But then it was kind of weird. It was just like, I shouldn't be feeling like this. Like, I'm.
You're buzzing on caffeine.
Yeah.
Literally vibrating.
There's a word for it. I can't think of what it is.
I don't know.
Phone a friend. Nick, what's the word when you're like,
hey, Nick,
really
when you drink
caffeine?
an entire pot of coffee, like, how do you feel?
He's trying to whisper the word to me. Anyway, yeah, so I felt like I was on drugs, drinking some caffeine. And it's just like, if a little bit of caffeine could affect me that way, why don't I feel it that acutely when I'm drinking it more regularly? And for the record, I really only drink like a half a cup to a cup when I drink it. And I don't drink coffee every day.
Yeah.
I've been on the matcha for the last year or so. I have had caffeine for most days.
Yeah.
But, you know, comparatively speaking, for the homies that are drinking a pot or two of coffee every day, like, that's just, it's a lot of caffeine. It's a lot of stimulation to the system. And I know, like, different brains, you know.
It's interesting because, like, I mean, I know you're very sensitive to substances.
Yeah.
But just like noticing how, like, for me, it's got to be like the perfect storm. Like, I can't drink coffee until I've eaten. You know, I've had to like been hydrated. I have had to eaten at least 2 meals before I can drink coffee, or it'll like completely wreck me. Like, I will.
How so?
I'll be jittery. I'll be anxious. Like, probably make me a little bit nauseous, and like, I'm just like, I feel like my body can't move as fast as like I need to move, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, same with like drinking or something. You know, like, it's got to be like, I've got to drink water. I had to eat, or like.
But isn't it interesting that we have to like put on our armor for these things that are so normal in American society? Alcohol and caffeine are the two, aside from sugar and salt, like. Yeah, I wouldn't even really say salt usually, but, you know, aside
that was
from,
more like a salt.
No, I know. I know. But I usually don't throw salt into, but it should be. Yeah.
Yeah.
It should be. But I don't know. Anyway. America's drugs of choice. Alcohol and caffeine. It's like you have to like almost be feeling so fortified in your own health. You know what I mean? Eating a meal, hydrated already, for you to be able to like hang with these so normalized and a lot of times like romanticized, glorified.
Yeah.
Also
like,
demonized.
I'm not
in other
myself
circles.
Until I've had my coffee, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, totally.
Like people just like hop out of bed and start drinking coffee first thing in the morning.
And as much as I love coffee and do witness and experience a addiction, at least an attachment with it, I've luckily, thank goodness, never been to that level of like having caffeine headaches or ever saying to myself or anyone else that I need my coffee before I'm myself. Like, that's just not how it'd be.
Right.
You know, no judges again, you know, but it's just like, why? What does that feel like to not feel like yourself until you have your coffee? Like, I don't know. I know the caffeine headaches are a thing, but like, is it a mood thing? Are you just totally crabby? I have no idea.
Yeah. But some people can't think straight. Like, some people that I work with, like, like, oh, I only had my 2 cups of coffee this morning. I'm like, you've already had 2 cups of coffee this morning? I haven't even eaten anything yet.
Yeah,
like, I'm still working on the water, you know?
Yeah, I mean, soda and pop and stuff, like, a lot of people drink that like it's water, you know? That's luckily something that I haven't been on really at all. Thank goodness.
Right.
And I don't even know who to thank for that, you know, because my parents, not really my dad, but my mom drinks pop and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't.
Not really anymore, though. I think she's
Yeah, I mean, she's
left
definitely
that
been kicking
behind.
it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Good
But it's
for her.
also, I mean,
Yeah.
not to speak for her, but it's been something that she's been trying to kick.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And
Though,
stuff,
to be
so.
fair, like, your mom never drank coffee. You know,
Yeah.
that coffee is very recent for her. It
And
was never, like, that was her caffeine of choice.
Yeah, and that's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
Is the caffeine. You know,
Right,
a lot of
right,
people
right.
are getting a lot of different forms of caffeine. You know?
Yeah.
So anyway, not to dwell
Yeah.
too long on caffeine, but you know, it's a stimulant. So
is.
to your point,
It
like
absolutely
people
is.
that may say like, "Oh, I've only had 2 cups," like, you know, people with neurodivergent brains and people with ADHD and stuff like that, like it's come to my attention that, you know, different brains work differently.
Yeah.
For some people, that type of stimulation is actually healthy
Yeah.
for them, you know,
Right.
or at least in order to
Yeah.
play in the society that we live in, maybe in a different context, maybe it would be more healthy for them to be in a different
Yeah.
flow. I don't know. I
Right.
don't know. I'm just, who knows?
I feel like it has something
Because I don't want to
like,
say that people need stimulants in order to be their ideal self. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to be an advocate for that necessarily.
Right. But,
So-
you know, if it helps.
If it helps, by all means.
Right.
But yeah, just to, like, you know, 2 sides of the coin. Like,
Yeah.
different seasons.
Yeah,
If you
different
need to be
seasons.
focusing on a certain task or whatever
Yeah.
it is, then stimulate away and do what you got to do. But like,
Yeah.
if there is a more free flowing, healthy environment for that type of person to flourish in,
Right.
you know, maybe that's something to investigate too. Again,
Yeah.
not something I'm really that, you know, familiar with or
Yeah.
authorized to talk about.
Something that's, you know, also come into my awareness recently has been like the nervous system health, you know, like and I feel like caffeine has a lot to do with that, you know.
Say more about that. What do you mean?
Just like
Nervous system.
noticing when you're in, you know, your fight, flight, or freeze, and like if you don't consciously like work yourself down from that, you're gonna stay in that heightened that heightened place for a long time, and like, you know, like
Yeah.
consciously relaxing your nervous system and, you know, getting a lot of that stuff that's stagnated in your body out, you know. And I feel like caffeine kind of helps, like maybe it doesn't like actually help, but it like maybe makes you feel a little bit more fluid. Like
Really, I was thinking of the opposite.
I feel like it would, you know, kind of like jostles you a little bit. Gets, you know, you're a little more in your body. At least I feel like
it depends on
caffeine
the context.
yeah, and it also depends on the person.
Yeah.
But, you know, I
Right.
think there's a lot of nervous system stuff that people don't realize is going on underlying things.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It's not a fully formed thought, but
Well, I was thinking in terms of part of why we do have a lot of nervous system wreckage and entanglements in the mainstream, because, you know, what are the natural biological stimulants? Cortisol, which is the stress hormone, adrenaline, which is the stress to overcome or
something
step
like
up to the
that.
plate hormone,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure that's the scientific
pull
term
your
for
train
it.
off of your child.
Yeah, the get her done.
Yeah, the get her done hormone.
So, you know, that's why I thought you were making the claim for the opposite, that caffeine would maybe like agitate nervous system regulation because it's
Yeah.
adding more stimulation. The more stimulated we are, you know, think about it, the nervous system is, how would you
Yeah.
explain that? Like in the most simple terms, how would you explain the nervous system?
I mean,
It's our nerves.
it's our
how
nerves.
we
It's
are.
moving all the way throughout our body, everywhere. Our nerves are at every point on our body.
I would almost say
That's how it's like how we interact with the world, you know? That's
Right.
like that's how we feel things.
There you go. Feel things. That's what I was going to say. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's our emotional orientation in the moment is
Yeah.
our nervous system. Our nervous system is through our senses. We're feeling out our environment, and our nervous system is telling us: are we safe in this environment? How do we
Yeah.
feel in this
Right.
environment? Do we feel safe? Do we feel stressed? Do we feel flow? Do we feel stagnant? You know, whatever.
Yeah.
That's the gist of it, right?
Right.
So I think when I drink coffee, even amongst friends or by myself, you know, my moment becomes a little bit more jittery. It becomes more, am I okay? Am I safe?
Right.
You know, I'm more questioning and a little. I lose focus actually with caffeine. That's the way it works for me.
Yeah.
Which is really unfortunate because I love coffee. I love the way it tastes. I love the experience of it.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like I've had a pretty good relationship with it. I love the smell.
Yeah.
You know, I love it. I love it as a plant. I think I need to treat it as all plants, actually. That's a huge conversation. Probably say for another day. It's just like relationship with plants.
Yeah.
You know?
That's honoring itself.
Honoring plants, you know,
rather allies.
Than as allies rather than as, you know, crutches, or just habitual taking for granted. Yeah, I think coffee definitely falls into that category.
So, like, and do you feel like you're fight, flight, or freeze? Like, how do you feel like you react?
Depends on the
stress?
Context.
Okay. So,
definitely not fight. I'm not a very aggressive person. It would probably be flee. Like
so that's interesting.
In a social situation, I would probably want to just leave the situation.
Yeah. So like you feel jittery when you have that stimulation. So like when you're already in a flight sense and then adding more stimulation to that, that's going to make you feel jittery.
Yeah.
I tend to freeze. So when I add that stimulation, that makes me feel like I've got more fluidity.
So you can either fight or flee.
Right.
Gives you the mobility.
Yeah.
I see.
So I feel like that's maybe where I was going and just didn't really have the words for it.
Gotcha. So
a little bit of clarity there.
Dependent on context, which includes who we're dealing with and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so back to our first cleanse. Do you want to tell the story of our break fast?
Yeah.
Breakfast?
So to celebrate breaking the fast, we went to Jungle Gyms and we got all kinds of delicious things from Jungle Gyms, including some really hot sauce that I was really excited about because I had the Frank's red hot sauce that was extra hot. That was nothing. I'm like, I love that stuff. This stuff said extra hot as well, so I assumed.
Do you remember what it was? Do you remember what it was called?
I don't remember the brand.
We bought a couple.
No,
of them.
we bought a couple.
Yeah, a couple varieties.
Yeah. And so, our first day off the cleanse, I make this big beautiful breakfast. Fried potatoes, all kinds of goodies, sauteed veggies.
Perfectly made.
We had
eggs.
Fried eggs, and one of them was a twin egg.
Was that day?
Yes, because I have a picture of it of our heart. No, it wasn't the twin eggs. I'm sorry, it was the heart. When I put the 2 eggs into the pan, they made a heart, and it was super cute. So it was a really beautiful breakfast.
Yeah.
And I love hot sauce on my breakfast, so I doused the entire plate. And if you've ever shared a meal with me and Sean, we usually share a plate. There's no 2-plate kind of thing.
Less dishes.
Less dishes.
Don't have a dishwasher.
So, yeah, I doused our entire breakfast in this hot sauce, and as much as I would put, Frank's or Cholula
which is essentially
or something,
like, Frank's is just like, don't use salt, use this instead.
Right.
Of course.
So I'd never had any other hot sauce besides like those 2, and I ruined it. Absolutely ruined it.
Mouth on fire. Absolute fire.
It was so disappointing.
I tried to power through. I was just like, my babe.
Find a couple bites and didn't have too much hot sauce.
It was too much.
Yeah.
I think we had to throw it away, which
is
shameful. I hate to admit.
It was awful. Yeah, but it was pretty much inedible.
Yeah. But I mean, to the point of the coffee thing, like we had no spicy stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, we weren't
barely salty stuff, You just doused it.
I was so excited. I was like a child in a candy store. Like I was just
we were both
I needed to do all of the things. Yeah. Anyway, so I don't do that anymore. I don't put hot sauce on before I've tasted anymore.
I've noticed that you really I mean, usually it's a hot sauce you're familiar with.
Yeah.
But I have noticed that you'll like just put on your side.
Yeah.
Like probably ever since then.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not committing this whole plate to this hot sauce.
Right. Yeah. Or I'll like put it on the side of the plate and like dip in rather than put it all over the food.
Yeah.
Trauma response.
Yeah. So anyway, that was awful. All right, so this time around, what kind of cleanse are we doing? What's your motivation? What's your intention for doing this?
Mm-hmm.
What's the cleanse? What's going to be our game plan?
So I feel like with this cleanse is really like I'd like to make it more of like what our lifestyle's going to be like, not necessarily like this is just a reset. This is just a momentary blip. Like I want this to be like this is what baseline is. Like this is what we do, you know. Of course we can splurge and we can like have treats and stuff, but like I'd like this to be like creating a more holistic, healthy lifestyle. You know, and like you said, like we don't really eat like crap.
Yeah.
In general,
Yeah.
I mean, we can definitely clean it up, and I would like to, you know, just start building the healthy habits of like, you know, meal planning and stuff too, like having a plan and like being organized, and like I feel like that's like a lot of it. Like, the other part of it that I'd like to do is like cleanse not just our bodies, but like cleanse our house and our space. And so like necessary. You know, we moved in here over 2 years ago, and we keep talking about consecrating our spaces, and we still haven't done that.
Yeah.
And
I know. It's been a loop.
It has been a loop, and it's been a weird 2 years. Like it's you know, it's been a weird time to try to create new habits and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, talk about freeze.
Mm-hmm. We've been frozen.
That was definitely a freeze response to COVID, to the pandemic. And an aspect of responding to stress. Yeah. That was a freeze for me a little bit.
Yeah. And I think you said it a couple weeks ago.
I didn't flee. I didn't fight it. I just kind of froze.
Because, you know, it was winters. Like we were coming out of winter when everything shut down. And it's like we haven't really come out of that hibernation from 2 years ago.
As two very introverted people.
Yeah.
You know, I would say very.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I mean, I can be.
Yeah.
Social. I wouldn't say extroverted. I wouldn't say I can be extroverted.
Yeah.
I would say I can be expressive.
Yeah.
I can be seen.
Yeah.
But I'm very introverted.
Right.
Yeah, and you definitely are.
Definitely. Yeah, I think we're people that thrive more on like one-on-one interactions.
Yeah, that's for sure.
When we feel like we're comfortable with somebody or in a situation where we can be ourselves.
Yeah, and like to have someone's undivided attention, I think is a gift, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's also like just a beautiful exchange, you know, and when you're at a party, you know, it's just like all that energy in the room, and just like even when you're trying to have a one-on-one conversation in that environment, there's still so much other energy happening. Right. It's just like, to what depth of a conversation can you get to? Not to say that I haven't had deep conversations at parties, I for sure have. You know, it's just it's different. It's different, and there's good things about that too. You know.
Yeah.
But anyway, not the point of the conversation. I say that to say that, you know, I know winter isn't a comfort zone for you, but I think for my lower self, I mean, I was born in December, you know, I think I have a certain shadow self that does thrive in the winter, which is it's a shadow self thriving, you know? So it's not necessarily a healthy place. It has been. I've made some cool art in the winter, you know, like the follow-up to Solati, Luna Lay, was supposed to be this, like, you know, Solati is this bright, acoustic, high-vibing album, you know. And Luna Lay was like, I mean, I started writing some of that material in Price Hill, and I haven't been touching it for a long time.
Yeah.
I've gotten really pretty distracted, like, this winter. After putting Airing Out, I mean, you know, that was something. I'm glad I did that.
Oh yeah.
That was healthy for me, and it was timely. But I haven't touched the Luna stuff, and I'm just bringing this up because only a few nights ago I like revisited it. You know, I was working on that a lot at your parents' house when we were staying there. And, like I said, I started a lot of it in Price Hill, and you know, a lot of it's just like the opposite of how I want to utilize art. You know?
In what ways?
It's like I've said in multiple conversations that I really want my music to be like positive programming, you know, reminding the being listening and or singing along to be positive, life enforcing, you know, not love and light all the time type stuff, but just like here and now type stuff, you know? Which you can make the argument that like that darker stuff is here and now. And of course, like they weren't terrible lyrics, but they were a lot more venti, you know, like just depression songs. A lot of them were, you know? And so I don't feel too motivated to like go into that energy and like finish it. I think that's going to end up being a lot different than it has started.
Yeah.
Obviously, it won't be the direct follow up to Soul Out Tea the way I thought it was going to be. But anyway, all of that to say, like to your point, yeah, the pandemic came at the tail of winter, so it kind of extended that hibernation like vibe.
Yeah.
You know, that my point in us being introverts, that we already like lean into that pretty heavily.
We do.
You know, not everyone hibernates in the winter. Most people don't.
Right.
You know, not to say that we don't see anyone and never leave our houses or anything like that, but you know, energetically.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was pandemic vibes.
Yeah,
you know,
so
it's just
yeah, we
like
were just,
we got fucking depressed. We got
Right.
distracted. You know,
Right.
we were playing video games and
Which there's nothing wrong with that.
it was fun.
But I think the thing is we weren't balancing, you know, it was like we were only doing the things that brought us instant pleasure.
Yeah.
You know?
Which has been my struggle for all throughout my 20s.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
That's what addiction
Yeah.
is the preference for instant gratification. And, you know, it doesn't have to be substances. It doesn't have to be drugs, you know? Like, anyone who has social media knows exactly what instant gratification is, you know?
Right.
It's just like, and that's been, you know, this last week of, like, trying to recover from the sickness or whatever, I've just been, like, really leaning into trying to do nothing. But what that ended up manifesting as was just me scrolling for hours.
Yeah.
You know? And it was awful. Like, it was truly, like, sucking my brain dry of any feel-good chemicals.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's going to be part of this cleanse is like setting boundaries with social media.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
I 100% support
And like,
that.
You know, I go through cycles of just really wanting to like get off of it completely, but you know, trying to be an artist in the digital age is like, it's almost not an option unless you're truly committing to building an IRL community, you know, which maybe will be the move eventually.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's like you still need that to like make plans and stuff.
You don't need it.
Yeah.
We've convinced ourselves that we do, you know, because it is the convenience, just the way traditional food is the convenience, you know, in society at large. Like back to the other conversation we were having, you know what I mean? Like it's just just because that's what's normalized doesn't mean that's what we need, you know. I mean, do we have our friends' phone numbers? You know,
Some
like
of them.
I got a new phone relatively recently, and there's a lot of people that I still need to get their phone numbers.
Yeah.
And stuff, and it's just like, yeah. Anyway, whatever. But no, I do want there to be like not just a we're going on a diet, you know, but like
because I mean that's not sustainable.
It's not, and whether or not it's really even effective in clearing us out and resetting ourselves, like, nah, dude, it honestly hasn't been. Like, a lot of times we will do a cleanse and I'll go right back to my problematic relationship with food, you know? And sometimes it
exacerbates
it. You know? Because it's like you've been denying yourself and now you finally let yourself off the leash.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that, you know, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that have problems with like regulating eating and like trying to like try not to eat during the day, and then you're like binging all night because you were like trying to deprive yourself of the thing that you want, and then you just really go overboard, and then you feel even worse the next morning. It's this vicious cycle. I mean,
it's like, oh, I ate so much yesterday, I can't eat today, kind of thing.
It's insanity.
And
I was in that
insanity.
for years.
Yeah. And I mean, it's putting a lot of importance on it, and this is what we were talking about recently too. Is like, that's something that I want to do, is take less importance in my food. Like, of course what I eat is important, and like I'd like to eat good things, but at the same time, like, my thing is like, I want every meal to be this amazing thing where it's like sometimes I could just eat leftovers or eat a sandwich or like, just like, am I even hungry enough to like make this big meal, and will I still be hungry when I make the meal?
Yeah, because like, that's a weird thing that you do sometimes. You'll make this big meal and then you'll eat only half a bowl of it or whatever.
Yeah, well, that's also a thing, is like, I mean, I also tend to snack while I cook. I chop things up. I eat, I eat bites of it, and you kind of test it as you're cooking to like make sure that it tastes good stuff. But like, I mean, that's a pretty common thing that people are like, you get done eating and then you're not even hungry anymore, or you get done cooking and you're not even hungry anymore, just because like the energy of putting into cooking is just like and like, you hear that people like say that like, oh, it tastes better when somebody else cooks it. It's like you make this whole thing and you taste it and it's kind of like, was all that effort even worth it?
Oh wow, it's hard for me to relate to that. Because I am kind of the opposite. I mean, I tend to scavenge, like I will eat leftovers. Sometimes I won't even heat them up. Let's be honest, most of the time I don't bother to heat them up because instant gratification. When I'm ready to eat, I have a very scavenging energy around it. I'm not proud of that, but it's the truth. I just go down. Let's mention crackers earlier. It's fucking Mary's seed crackers or whatever. Delicious.
Yeah.
Grab some of those, eat half the bag, like whatever, or not. But either way, it's just, instant. I'm hungry, now I'm eating.
Right.
Dude, that's not how nature works.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it is if you have access to. But the difference is grabbing a dandelion out of the ground.
We got plenty of those out in the yard if anybody wants any.
Grabbing a carrot out of the ground.
Yeah.
Grabbing an apple off of an apple tree and eating it, that's a live food. It's alive.
Yeah.
There's enzymes. There's live enzymes in that food. That's the way food was developed, evolved to be collaborated with the human and other animal species, right?
Yeah.
Having the wheat and the seeds and all the things crushed together and processed in a factory or Mary's house, and then packed up in plastic and sit in a warehouse and then in a grocery store, you know what I mean? Like all these processes, it's so removed from being alive.
Right.
That, I mean, maybe that stuff is nutritious. Maybe there are still nutrients in it, but like,
yeah.
And what do you think? Do you think that diminishes its quality? I mean, it must to at least a degree.
I think it depends on the food. Like, your example, like with crackers and stuff, like I think like a lot of those seeds and things, and like, okay,
these, like
our bread probably isn't that great. I mean, we buy probably the best bread that we can, but like our bread that's available in grocery stores,
we spend like 10x what a lot of people spend on bread.
Yeah, well, I mean,
for gluten-free,
food's expensive in general, and like the good food is even more expensive. We're not buying the cheapest thing that's there, but like those crackers and stuff, like I think that, I mean, they're gluten-free for one, so like there's no like additives or anything that's like, like stuff holding it together, but like seeds and stuff, like they're like, we soak our stuff and then dehydrate them. That's putting heat on them, and that's like, I think that makes it easier to digest, and I think that kind of stuff is, I think that makes it better.
Yeah, who knows? I'm definitely not trying to
but like
demonize.
with,
I'm just
like,
painting the picture.
I know what
I think
you
it's
mean.
something to think about.
But like
I think it's
with
something
produce and stuff, sure, I totally get that. Who knows how long apples and stuff and oranges are sitting, in a facility and then getting transported and then getting to the grocery store and then sitting in the grocery store and then coming home with us and then
pepped up with a little spray.
And like covered in
stand.
Wax and stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, like I said, not trying to demonize or anything like that. Just painting a picture. I think it's something to think about when we are trusting our senses with our food, and eating. I think this was something we talked about with Lucinda on that podcast, maybe. I feel like I've said this before, but, eating with our senses.
You were talking about that, yeah.
Yeah. Just like, does it smell good? Does it look good? Are you attracted to it?
Yeah.
Visually first. Does it smell good? Does it taste life-enforcing,
Yeah.
Like eating crackers because you're bored, totally different experience than eating one bite of an apple when you're truly hungry.
Right.
Or some watermelon or even some celery. When you're truly hungry, you take a bite into celery, you're going to taste those micro sugars that are in that, It's life-enforcing.
Sure.
You know? Anyway, so not to belabor the point, but I was saying that I do want to take this not just into diet, but like you said, not just environmentally, but also like socially, like I mean, shit, what's the cure for depression and, clouded mind and confusion of the spirit is to collaborate with people, have conversations, like be around people that I love, be outside, collaborate with the sun, just that day that it was nice 2 days ago, I sat out in the chair on the deck and just like, as crappy as I was feeling, I was just like, dude, this is fresh air.
Yeah, fresh air really, really helps.
Yeah. Just like breaching the clouded mind for like a second. I was just like, all right, I remember what home feels like. Yeah. I never truly forgot, but like I definitely haven't been vibing with it, So yeah, anyway, so all right, well, game plan. How do you want to do it?
Yeah. So
you were talking about doing a bone broth.
Yeah, I am definitely interested in that. Like, I think we should do like a week of like completely clean eating, get ourselves ready for that. I mean, probably we eat pretty great.
Yeah, pretty clean. Yeah, that was another. Yeah, well, that was another thing I meant to say, and I said this to Ryan yesterday. We were talking about this a little bit, and it's just like, yeah, no, I mean, I've been eating like clean, like good, healthy food for years. It's just my problem is I'll eat too much of it.
Yeah.
When I don't need it, I'm still consuming it.
Right.
And so you're saying like lowering importance around it, like this meal needs to be glamorous or whatever. This needs to be
gourmet.
Yeah. For me, I don't have that need, but to me, like I need to lower my emotional connection to food, and that's where like mindfulness comes in. That's where like having satisfying relationships with people comes in. Feeling emotionally fulfilled, like as a baseline, rather than like reaching that point in the day where I'm just like, you know, disconnected. Stuff like that. And then another thing I wanted to bring up. So mindfulness, I want to make sure I made that point.
Yeah.
So like mindful eating is a huge part of this. Like actually like taking a bite and letting it be a meditation. That's
like when we were eating those tacos.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Ago, like that was the best meal I've had in years.
Yeah. So we were gonna make this podcast a couple weeks ago, but we had these tacos instead, and man. They were the best.
They were really good.
Definitely the best meal I've had in like maybe ever.
Yeah. And I mean, it was an inspired meal. It was a collaboration. Like
with who?
With you.
What did I do?
You helped. You did the hummus, remember?
Oh, yeah.
And yeah.
Recipes later. So anyway, making it a meditation, putting down the fork. In between bites, actually being present with the bite. We have such a devouring, fiendish energy when it comes to eating in American society. I remember when I was in college and like this lady was talking about how she had like studied abroad, or I don't know, she was in France or something like that, and she was just talking about it. I don't even remember what the class was or why it was relevant, but she was just like, yeah, over there, like they eat their food. Like here we devour it.
Yeah.
There they'll spend like a couple hours. It's a community thing.
Yeah.
But they're also taking their time eating their, and, you know, chewing is the first step of digestion.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. I think that's everywhere in Europe. But
it's
you know,
definitely
it's
more
like,
so the culture than it is here.
Yeah, I mean,
Whereas
here
it's just
like it's another thing to be checked off the list.
manifest destiny.
You know,
This is meant for me. Get in my body. Like, come on, dude, chill.
Yeah, it's, you know,
God, we're colonizing our plate.
Yeah, rushing from one thing to next. You know, you have to eat super fast so you can get on to the next thing, and like, you know, and like even with
guzzling it down with pop and
in childhood, you know, like you have to stop playing so that you can go eat. And you have to eat really fast so you can get back to playing or doing whatever you were doing, or like, oh, you have to go, you just got home from school and you did your homework and now you have to go to soccer practice, so you need to eat this food real fast so you can get on to the next thing, you know? Like, it's just always like a rush, or like you've got 20 minutes to eat before you have to clock back into work. Or like you work in a restaurant, you have to get as many bites in as you can in between people walking in.
Yes. Pedal back one to lunch breaks. You also know you're not getting paid until you clock back in.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And that you have, in a lot of places, like you have to clock out so that you can eat.
Yeah.
And it's so silly. Like, I think it was, there's a story on NPR not too long ago, probably a couple of years ago at this point. They were talking about like business in Japan and how like it's normal to take, you know, at least an hour lunch every single day away from your desk. And like they were doing like heart studies on it, you know, like between you know, business people in America and business people in Japan, and like the differences in like heart health. And like they take naps and stuff throughout the day, like at their workplace. Like they have like cots and things for people to take a nap and like rest their brain.
That's something I'd like to implement, some like lucidity naps.
Yeah, take 20 minutes, a half hour, and just like really just rest. I mean,
that's really like using it as a practice too, because to your point, naps are healthy.
They are
for your energy levels and for your brain. There's been lots of studies as to that you retain information much more if you actually give your brain, like you said, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, just to rest. Just flirt with that REM sleep. You don't even have to get into a full ass dream.
Right.
But just to get into the hypnagogia helps you retain information, helps you learn.
It does, yeah. I mean, especially in our society where we're constantly being bombarded with information.
Oh, don't get me started.
And we don't even realize how much information we're taking in.
Yeah.
And it's the stuff that we really want to retain that like we have a hard time with because it was just constant information.
I mean, here we are creating more information for the internet and stuff, you know? It's just like, it gets me down for real. I am in a loop about it, you know, where like I want to contribute. And then I'm like, God, there's so much noise out there. Like, I don't want to like push this, you know. I don't want to pimp out my art, you know. That's a whole nother conversation. But just throwing that in there. You were talking. I wanted to say something.
I'm sorry.
No. Just reel me back. What were you talking about?
We were talking about naps.
And I was talking about the lucid naps.
The lucid naps.
Yeah.
And the health benefits of
the
information that we're being bombarded with.
Yeah, no, I remember. I was just talking about the lucid aspect of it. Like I mentioned to your point that it's healthy for the brain, but also for me, because, you know, as you know, I've been trying to implement a lucid dreaming practice. Yeah. Like that takes it out of just like the chance of like, oh, I hope I get lucid tonight. Yeah. Like, dude, I need to sleep. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I need my 9 hours of sleep. You know, you're gonna have to do your deep sleep in the beginning. So like, I either need to commit to the wake back to bed method of waking up at 5 a.m. and being up for 15 minutes or whatever, and then going back to sleep with a more of a conscious awareness, a little bit of a more of your prefrontal cortex being a little bit more online, right? Rather than grogginess throughout 9 hours. But doing lucid naps, I think as a spiritual practice, as a meditation, I think would be a really cool thing to start implementing.
Right. You know, do a countdown method kind of thing to like clear your brain. Yeah,
there's a few. Yeah, I could tell you later, but okay. We could get into it another time. I don't want to bombard with too much information. But yeah, okay. So there was one other theoretical thing I want to mention before we get into the nitty gritty.
Okay.
And we don't even necessarily need to keep the nitty gritty in the podcast.
Right.
But I was listening to Dr. Drew. Do you know Dr. Drew?
Dr. Drew was on TV. He was the celebrity dude, right?
I guess.
He had a talk show, and celebrities would come on, and
so Jessa Reed was on Dr. Drew.
Okay, yeah.
That's how
TV, right?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know.
Okay.
That's how he's on my radar, is that Jessa Reed was on it.
Okay.
I was looking up some stand-up stuff the other night, and Jessa only has like 3 stand-up clips on YouTube.
Oh, yeah?
But I found a couple interviews that I hadn't seen before, and something that he said, so then he got on my algorithm, and I watched half of an episode with someone else the next day. And it was on that episode that he was talking to someone, and they got onto the topic of doing cleanses and detoxes, and he went off for a second. He was like, write down the chemical formula of what a toxin is and how to detoxify it. And his whole douchey point was that there aren't any toxins. What are people talking about detoxifying? What are you detoxifying from? There's no toxins. And I was like, that's an interesting take. I mean, I don't know that I 100% agree with it, but I kind of appreciated the reframe, you know? Not to give him authority status because he's a doctor.
Right.
Or at least he plays one on his talk show or whatever. You know? But it was interesting. And I was like, okay. But of course, mercury in your body or whatever, chemicals that may not be toxins in an environment. Plastic in your bloodstream, would you not consider that a toxin?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. It just kind of thought it was worth sharing, just as food for thought.
Yeah.
You know, that. Yeah, maybe we don't need this whole idea that there's it's duality at the end of the day. You know, do we need to demonize plastic? Do we need to demonize any chemicals on Earth? You know, it's our relationship to these things,
right? And I feel like you were saying,
because mind
with
over
your
matter
senses,
and placebo and all that stuff. But sorry, go ahead.
Maybe we don't need to demonize these things, but that doesn't mean we need to interact with them either. And you can go with what feels good and what feels right and what feels energizing and healing. Yeah.
Because as much as I could say, oh yeah, plastic in my bloodstream doesn't bother me. I've got a good relationship with plastic.
Yeah.
You know, okay, well, you're one fish in the sea, bro. It's about the collective relationship with plastic. Right. And the collective relationship has been negative. Mm-hmm. How many fish have we killed with plastic? How many, how much pollution to the Earth's atmosphere has been a result of manufacturing things such as plastic and petroleum-based resources, so it's a large scale, big picture context of how we relate to these chemicals. So just to paint that picture further, that I'm not, but at the same time, placebo is a
hell of a drug.
Huge, yeah. Oh yeah. Life.
Yeah.
Is a placebo. Let's be certain. So I don't know. Don't get me started on all that, but.
No, that's interesting.
Just we can mind over matter, and there's tons of studies for anyone that's skeptical on that. There's tons of studies about that, people that have legitimately, miraculously cured themselves of things like cancer and fatal diagnoses that they've visualized, being healthy. One in particular, I remember this dude was a construction worker. And I don't remember what his ailment was, but he would visualize a construction site basically demolishing. Maybe it was a tumor in his brain. Let's just use that as an example. And he was visualizing what?
I don't know. There's some noise.
Noises in the house. House is in the noise. Noise in the house. In the house noise. Should we welcome the ghost in? Do we need to make a formal introduction?
I don't smell any smoke.
Okay.
We're good.
You guys chill.
We're good.
Anyway, this dude visualized, he would take meditative time to visualize a construction team demolishing this tumor in his brain, and like literally shrunk the size of it.
Wow.
Not overnight.
Yeah.
But
whatever time.
Yeah,
Sure.
Andrew Weil, Dr. Weil has a book called Spontaneous Healing. I read it in that book. He's an MD who has also studied Eastern medicine, and he's a really cool guy. Anyway, so
yeah.
I just want to throw that out there that I'm not trying to fight toxins. I did go through a phase where I thought that I could put all my eggs into the basket of cleansing myself and all my problematic eating and, you know, whatever relationship with emotional eating or whatever would be solved if I could cleanse myself of, you know, if I could detox some sugar long enough and just reset my biology. Like, but that I'm demonizing something and I'm trying to fight it at that point. Like,
right. And you're not a fighter.
Neither here nor there. I mean, I tried to fight the parasites out, you know, like, you know, whatever. We went on a parasite cleanse one time, and that was
not my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just didn't feel good.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, being grateful for what we have and what we're eating, I feel like is going to go so much farther.
I feel like the energetics, the emotion,
right,
the placebo, I don't know how else to put it in words, but like being in embodiment of health does so much more than the nuance of how you think with your mind. You're going to get there.
Yeah.
If you can just embody it energetically and emotionally and figure out, okay, so here's a cool thing that I thought about last time when we almost did this podcast. I had listened to a Very Ape episode that day, and Sean was talking about something completely outside of this context, but basically he was just talking about like the sculpting thing, how sculptors are chipping away. It's a matter of chipping away at what isn't in your vibe or whatever
to bring out what is.
Yeah. And I had an insight from hearing him say that. It's not exactly what he said, but I had an insight when I was listening to that. I was like, oh, dude, you could apply that to manifestation.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Did you think she would chase it?
She was really interested in it, so I was trying to land it right in front of her, but I went way too far.
Yeah. Did it bounce, or did you just totally...
It bounced, but I mean, it still went way too far. Anyway, sorry, go on.
It's all right, I need to wrap this up soon.
And
my voice is starting to get a little dry.
Yeah.
So I was saying that you could apply that sculpting mindset to manifestation, like crystallize or just clarify your vision of what it is that you want to be in alignment with.
Yeah.
And then ask yourself how to reverse engineer that. Like, what in my life do I need to chip away that's not in alignment with my best timeline?
Yeah.
You know? And that can be fucking hard, too. It's hard to let go. It's hard to grieve the lower aspects of self. That's why I've been in stagnancies for years, is because I'm afraid of dying. I'm afraid of this version of myself dying, but I'm killing and abandoning my highest self by not going through the process of grieving and transmuting my ego.
Right. And like when you said let go, I thought of like, you don't know how things are going to work out. Like, you can manifest and you can hope and wish and dream for all these things that you want, but you don't know how exactly it's actually going to show up in your life. And I saw this TikTok earlier today, this woman saying like, be delusional in your manifesting. Like, and like you always say, you know, focus on the feeling. Like, what do you want to feel? Because you don't know how that's actually going to work out, but like, you know how you want to feel. And like, that just really resonated when she said like, be delusional in your manifestation, because you don't know how it's actually going to show up in your life. But like, if you reach for the stars, like you'll end up somewhere, even if you don't know where that is, but you'll know when you get there.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, because I was actually thinking about that too, as far as like how much we belittle ourselves and diminish our vibe to fit in, you know, to be normal.
Yeah.
Like how much we cut ourselves short to fit into the workplace, to fit in with our families, to fit in with our friends. You know, there's an expectation, and we play to these mirrors, right? Like everyone else is just a reflection of us, which is to say, not that you're a reflection, that Cara's a reflection to Sean, but that Cara and Sean are reflections of the universe, and we're each embodiments of it, of this. We are the moment. The moment is what is.
This is it.
We're the eyes of the moment for now.
Right.
Right. And the witness that's watching through every single set of eyes, you know. The witness isn't a personality, though. It's not an ego.
Right.
You know,
Just
it's
is.
soul.
Right.
That's why I don't necessarily vibe with the idea that, like, Earth is the school for soul, because I'm just like, dude, you think your soul's different than mine? Maybe there's layers of individuation on those higher realms. I could say maybe, you know, maybe it's like, for instance, as a playful metaphor, like maybe, you know, each astrological or zodiac archetype is a soul. You guys need to investigate?
I just heard a weird noise again. I don't know what that is. Sorry, go on. It distracted me.
It's the mystery. It's testing your ability to stay centered.
Yeah. Sorry.
There's weird noises in the house all the time.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And now everyone knows. Not that weird, and it doesn't get that
It's a
crazy.
house.
Yeah.
Houses make noises.
Yeah, I'm not like hearing chainsaws, like, or hearing whispers on the wind or anything like that. But I definitely will hear creaks and stuff when everyone's in the room.
Yeah.
That's what houses do.
Right.
It's not a big deal.
It's fine.
Anyway, who cares? I'm just kidding, Eddie. Whatever.
I feel it though.
I was saying, like, maybe like the zodiac archetypes, or like maybe each one of those is a soul that makes up a soul family, you know? And like, whatever. It was fun for a second. Now it feels like I'm like trying to piece together the mystery. Like, it's losing its fun.
All right.
Anyway, so is there anything else to say? Do you want to do a real quick overview of like what you want to do game plan wise?
Yeah. So I was thinking we could do like maybe like a 6-week thing, and like each week we focus on one area of the house, like, 'cause, you know, we've got the top floor, we've got this floor, we've got that one, you know, like, and then like the outside, you know, we've got 6 spaces that really need to be attended to.
This may be a high idea, and not high idea. What if, for fun, we assigned parts of our psyche to each house, to each room in the house?
That's what I was trying to get at. Yes,
really?
Absolutely. 100%.
So like, figuring out what kind of energy we want to embody in this room.
Because like I really had the thought that Sunday that we were supposed to do this podcast, like when I was in the shower, like I really I was enjoying taking a shower.
Yeah, I had
and
a pretty
like really
enjoyable shower, too.
Cleaning myself and relaxing in the water and stuff. Like it was very nice. But then I, you know, look around and I'm like, how much better would this be? And like how more often could I get into this space if I actually had a space that felt good to clean myself in? Because, you know, we have this, you know, this dark tiny bathroom that like
dark paint.
Yeah, dark paint, and
the fan's
you know,
broken.
we have things that we need to attend to that we're ignoring, and like if we actually spend the time to like consecrate these spaces, like a sacred space to clean ourselves, like that's pretty damn important.
That should be,
you know,
a
like that's something that's important to me, and I would like to, you know, make that a reality.
I find value in it as well, and it's just hard for me to motivate myself in those ways. So this is going to be
I agree, because it's hard for me too. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times I ask you to be the more grounded person and to, you know, ask me or to, you know, help guide me when it comes to household chores and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I am a very heady
You are, yeah.
energy, and it's not where my natural focus goes.
And I just tend to do things myself rather than... I don't want to, like, give you chores. Like, that doesn't feel good to me.
I know, and that feels a little weird and codependent, but I think that it would be a collaboration. I'm asking you to do it.
Yeah,
you know?
Right.
And of course, it doesn't have to be like, here's what I want you to do. Like, it can be a collaboration. Like,
right.
Would you be comfortable?
Like, this is a list of stuff. Like, let's divvy it up.
Right.
Kind of
Exactly.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Or in the form of a question, like, what can you get done around the house this week?
Yeah.
You know, and then letting me be creative about how I want to do that.
Right.
You know, but I'm asking for support in that. You know.
Yeah.
To like prompt it or to help provoke it, and maybe just by having this conversation that helps me do that myself.
Yeah.
But I'm just acknowledging our natural energies and that you know, you're not the most earthy grounded person that I know, but you care about cleanliness or tidiness a little bit more than I do.
Yeah. It's like I care about it when I get to get so unruly that, like, because I had another thought earlier. I think it was today actually, but like, I feel like I subconsciously like punish myself that, like, I feel like I can't do the things that I like want to do and the things that I want to make room for in my life because, like, I don't deserve it because my space isn't. Like, I was like, oh, I can't do that stuff until my space is like the way that it needs to be.
Oh yeah.
You know, I can't, like, I have all these like classes and stuff saved on like this DIY database that the library has, like all the stuff that I want to do, and like even like starting my seeds and stuff. Like, I've put that on the back burner because, like, I don't have the space to do it. I don't have a setup space for it. And I, like, there's so much other stuff to do that it's like, oh, I've got to clean the bathroom instead. But do I do that? No, I don't do that either.
No, I know.
You know?
It
like,
becomes overwhelming.
Yeah.
Because then you realize, oh, if I think about one mess, then I have to think about all the messes.
Right.
I was just saying this to Lucas the other day. I was just like, yeah, he was talking about like doing some inner work this week, and I was just asking him what that looks like for him, and he said a couple things, and that one of them is just like tidying up your space, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I feel that. Like, I was expressing that I feel like it's extra difficult with this house because even though it doesn't seem like it's a large house, once you get inside, there's a lot of nooks and crannies, and it's easy. Like, neither of us are hoarders. Like, we have, relatively speaking, pretty minimal belongings.
Right.
Relatively speaking. We also own a house.
Right.
And that just like it almost like
we filled out the house.
It invites you to fill.
Yeah.
Right? Which
and
is
people gave us
kind of
their stuff to fill this house
we also
up.
Inherited some junk.
We inherited junk when we moved in.
Also some great things. So
yeah, absolutely. Like, grateful for it, but you know, like, also like our families pawned their stuff up on us, and it was like we didn't know what we would need or what we wouldn't need, and we took everything, and now we just have we have stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but like, it's an opportunity.
And it could be fun.
You know, and it's like we can.
It's just like, am I expected to do that without coffee? Or beer? How
could I possibly do a plumbing project without a beer?
And Coheed Cambria, like, you have to have it. Is the really toxic relationship that I've created.
We could try iced tea. You know, that's refreshing.
Fun. It's not fun.
It could be.
Yeah. So
you know, like,
get the right playlist and it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
and change the
take
relationship.
The right attitude.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. The only reason why in 2020 did I create that relationship of Coheed and beer and the plumbing projects was because I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it.
Right.
I treated it like
a chore.
A nuisance of a chore. And so I was trying to...
And especially when it's unexpected, and it was like, because I mean, that was our washing machine, you know, it was like something we needed, and it was a huge, awful thing, and it was like 3, 4, 5 trips to the hardware store, not knowing what we need, you know, it's just,
yeah, exactly,
you know,
it was stressful,
it's stressful, but you know, when we can like plan
stressful.
these things out, and like, we can make it more fun.
Yeah, I just, gosh, on the podcast with Lucinda, I was talking about like that I don't like getting my hands dirty and stuff. Like, I don't like cleaning messes that weren't mine. Yeah. It's like the garage.
Yeah.
All this stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean,
this doesn't need to be podcast material, but like,
Right.
This is the nitty gritty. Yeah. This is the after show.
If you really love us, you can watch it.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, just reframing, transmuting the energy around it, reframing it. And I think that like viewing it as shadow work is actually a little bit motivating.
Oh yeah. Like we can release some energy with it.
But it's just, I don't know, I guess part of the hang up is like feeling that it takes energy to release energy.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, but that's transmuting, fuel yourself, you know? Yeah.
Exactly. So if I'm feeling that empty, it's hard to motivate myself to do shadow work. Right. You know? So it's like we got to take care of ourselves.
Right.
To the point where we're feeling filled enough to exhaust some of the stagnancies that have been building up.
Right. And, you know, we can do things in like a half hour spurt, you know, like even like just before we started this, you know, we took 20 minutes and, you know, just tidied up the space a little bit. Like, I just wonder, like, I mean, that opened up a lot, you know, and we were able to have this conversation. And I know that you were kind of like, maybe not quite even feeling it when we started, you know, because, you know, we kind of did exhaust some things, but at the same time, we opened up a lot.
Mm. Yeah, and it just, you know, it took energy to set up the room and stuff and get the, you know, this isn't how we usually have the room and stuff. And yeah, also just, I haven't used my voice this much in over a week.
Right.
You know, so yeah, but you're right. And just like doing that real quick stretch.
Yeah.
You know, taking a moment to breathe.
Right.
Those little things to ground ourselves are so important.
Yeah, and it's like rewriting the story because, you know, like, I mean, how often do we tell ourselves that we don't have enough energy, and how often is that actually true? You know, and it's only true if we tell ourselves that it's true.
It's only true if we believe the thought.
Right.
We don't have to believe the thoughts.
Right.
And that's like one of the Zen things I've been reminded of lately is like, none of your thoughts are true, actually. None of them. There's this idea that like, you know, which thoughts are mine and which ones are, you know, conditioning, the thoughts of my parents, things I've heard, things that teachers have said, things that friends, you know, echoing in our mind, like which one are my real, like, genuine, original thought? Do you have any original thought? No. No one does.
No, that doesn't exist.
It's clouds in the mind, dude.
Yeah.
Like, literally none of your thoughts are true.
Right.
But we have a habit of listening to certain ones. That's what a routine and a personality is the accumulation of what thoughts and feelings you've been attaching to and making true by believing them, you know? And that's what I was getting at with like belief systems and it's the function. What's the function of the things you choose to believe? And the things that we didn't choose to believe. There's a lot of things that, and that's a huge part of cleansing yourself in the sense of awakening your true, authentic spirit. And, you know, which you guys just gotta stop. Was that even funny? You dropped a pen.
I dropped it on. Did you see Bella, how excited she was and how interested?
Yeah, but it's just like, that's Bella.
It's hilarious.
Just funny that it still is amusing to you.
She's an animal that just sits on my table and does funny things.
Yeah. I know, me and Bella have we've been getting some bonding time in. Anyway, what was I saying?
I don't even remember, but it was good.
The things that we choose to believe.
The
things that we do believe that are conditioning.
Yeah.
How that's like a huge part of reminding yourself is clearing out your conditioning. Not clearing out like they're all bad, but just becoming aware. Like that thing with the record the other day. Remember? Okay.
What happened?
When I was listening to that Rush record before you got home that one day.
Okay.
And it started a loop. And it sent me off on this whole mind trip.
Yeah.
It truly did. And I was like, dude, I listened to this record when I first bought it, and it did not have any loops in it. It played to the end.
Yeah.
So I was like, I know that this loop shouldn't be there, but I'm hearing it.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to this loop, and I'm like, I'm going to will it with
I remember that I came home and you were doing that. That's right.
And like I was butting up with so much conditioning. Of
Yeah.
like, you're not magical. What are you thinking, dude? You think
Right.
you can get through this loop with your mind? But it's like, dude, if we believe any of the manifestation stuff that we talk about and think about, can I align with that timeline? If the universe is truly infinite, can I become lucid in this moment and nudge that needle or break that groove a little bit? Because I was sure that the record played to the end the first time I listened to it. And so I was on this trip. I was like, oh no. And I'm like, I'm imagining failing. I'm imagining, no, I'm going to go. Should I just do it? This is annoying to listen to. Thankfully, the loop was slightly musical.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it was on beat.
Uh-huh.
Because that would have been really madness. If it was like, you know what I mean? Like it was a solid loop.
Right. I've experienced that loop.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I'm setting it up for
I
listening.
know.
So I was like, nah, I can't do this until I do some yoga. So I did this whole yoga session to the loop.
To the loop, yeah.
And what it ended up being was like, I was like, Cara's gonna do it. That was the way I could believe it.
Yeah.
And you did. You nudged it.
Yep.
So I did do it with my mind. You were just a part of me.
Yeah.
You were part of the process. I don't know how it's gonna show up, but it showed up. I didn't move it.
Right.
But it was just, those thoughts of like, nah, dude, you're gonna have to move this. And like, I'm like, no. Having that belief is what's keeping me from doing this magical thing.
Right.
You know? And all the conditioning that magic is fantasy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway. I won't dwell on it, but
You just have to learn the loop's name. You can call the name.
that's niche. That's a niche reference. Name of the wind. Yeah. So anyway. Okay, so you said 6 weeks.
Oh, yeah, I was just kind of thinking, like 6 weeks each week we work on an area of the house, and I like your idea of, correlating each room to an energy. Yeah, I like that a lot, because that's, that's a physical manifestation of clearing out,
Yeah.
I like that. So I was, thinking a week of, like, super clean eating, and then a 3-day bone broth fast.
3 days?
3 days.
That's it?
3 days that's it, where we don't eat anything but
Can you explain to me again why that's something you want to do?
Because bone broth has a ton of nutrients and stuff in it, where you're getting everything you need in a day. You're getting protein, you're getting the nutrients, but it also... So
it's a liquid fast in that sense.
A liquid fast, yeah. And it is really healing for the gut. It realigns the gut of, fills any little holes or anything that you have in your gut lining, and
with like beneficial bacteria, or what is it? Is it
it's like the gelatin and stuff that's in it. It literally repairs the lining of your colon and your intestines.
Do we need to do like a fast or a cleanse of the colon first before that's totally beneficial?
No, or
is it self-regulating?
From what I've read, it's like you just want to make sure that you do like that week first, where you're not, no sugar, no alcohol, nothing like that. Eat food and everything, and like, but like the bone broth will take care of it.
Yeah, I mean we've been basically off alcohol. We're pretty much on just like a opportunistic basis with that at this point. I really only drink at shows where it's provided for free, and not going out of my way to drink really ever again. At this point in my life, caffeine is going to be a little bit of but I didn't have caffeine the last like 4 days or something.
Yeah.
Sugar, are you talking natural sugars too?
No, just like fruit and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I eat way too much honey. That's for sure.
Are you sure?
Oh yeah. Have you noticed how quickly we go through honey?
I think it's been a pretty good pace, because like I've been drinking and eating it too. Like, it's not just
I'm just saying it's a lot of sugar. I know.
I mean, it is a lot of sugar, but the benefits
to be like spiking it the way I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just acknowledging that. Throat, Yeah.
I'm just acknowledging it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we could cool it,
I'm not saying
a little bit, but like,
go extreme and not
right.
have it. I'm just acknowledging that.
Yeah, I'm not. Really
I have been overindulging.
Okay.
With honey. Yeah.
Should we stop using the little server thing? Does that make it too easy?
Probably does. I just need to reframe my relationship to it.
Yeah.
But it does make it extremely easy to eat sugar.
Right.
I mean, basically.
Honey, yeah.
I mean, sugar in the form of honey.
I mean, something that Lucinda said that, we talked about and felt really resonant was like drinking that glass of water. When you feel some sort of urge or something, you stop and like drink that glass of water. And that gives you a minute to think about it and kind of relax yourself a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just drinking more water in general is so important.
I know.
The last couple of days, I have been guzzling water like crazy.
Yeah, I've been drinking a lot more. But it's mostly in the mornings once I start eating because I try not to drink and eat at the same time now. And I could probably relax my importance around that a little bit.
Gonna say,
but at the same time, I stop thinking about it. In the morning, I'm mindful of, I'm intentional about drinking and hydrating myself in the morning. And then once I'm eating food, that's what's on my mind. Yeah. I don't really think about drinking anything, especially if I'm drinking coffee or whatever. Yeah. Because then it's like, that's my beverage. It's hard to dual wield your caffeine and your water, but like we need to figure that out or just swap them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. As we started the conversation with so many people, feel like they're hydrating themselves, feel like you're wetting your whistle. Right. With sugary pop,
that just makes me
coffee or just black coffee, but then still just.
Yeah, that's dehydrating though.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah, water.
Okay, so bone broth, then what?
Is there anything else? Like I was saying earlier, I'm just really interested in like putting in those lifestyle practices that I've wanted to implement for a long time, like planning out like what's my schedule look like this week? What am I actually going to be able to make? Like what is, and I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago too, kind of like planning out what you're going to eat in a day. So like when you feel that need to eat, like you kind of have an idea already of what you're going to grab rather than just let me go scavenge the kitchen and eat everything I can find.
Or what you're going to prepare.
Yeah.
Because you've thought it through.
Right. Right. Like, I need to grab these things, and like maybe not grazing before making that meal, Yeah. So yeah, just kind of like implementing those organizational practices that I'd like to put into my life. I'd like to be more of an organized person. Like I love spontaneity and everything, but like I need a little bit more structure and routine, and that's something that I really, really just repels me.
I know, me too.
But
we've talked about it a lot.
I feel like I need that.
We have to figure out a way of juggling those two things to scratch the itch of spontaneity, but also, is it really an itch? Like, is it just a laziness / a rebellion of not wanting to do the things that I need to do? Right. Conditioning. Mm-hmm. Dude, it's a side effect of having been forced to go to school for most of my life so far, even still. Even as a 30-year-old fart, it's still most of my life I was in school. You were in school and you had extracurricular activities and then you worked and then, and like now it's like our life is ours. And like we get to decide what to do with our time, but like we're just like we're spinning our wheels. But if you're not working, you're a bum, Right. If you're not paying your rent. There's so much internalized crap. And that's we were supposed to not talk about the education system. I know. But, that's what it's training us to be as worker bees. It's training you to get comfortable with being uncomfortable for 8 hours a day. Mm-hmm. Or more. And the homework. Yeah, exactly. And the more. You were just at school for 8 hours. And now you're expected to be studying on your time off. It's just absolute doing garbage. More busy work, more studying, because you got to... Distracting you from your actual interest. The real sin of it, if you want to use those archaic words, the real missing the mark of it for me is that we are perverting the natural delight of learning something.
Curiosity.
Curiosity. Like every young person, every person has an innate desire and awe to be inspired by learning a little bit about the mystery. Science is cool. It's unfortunate that it's become a new religion.
Right.
But it is cool. It is cool to know how to do some magic and have that magic be verifiable.
Right.
And something you can do time and time again and it still works.
Right.
I mean, look at our phones. Look at our technology. Tell me this isn't magic.
Right.
You can bring this to someone 50 years ago, 30 years ago. They'd be like, whoa. You have a speaker that's not plugged in?
Right.
Like,
I mean, I still don't understand how CDs work. So.
Right. I gave up trying to catch up on
I don't know how this shit works.
basic
I just
electricity.
Know it works. Yeah.
You
know, I don't know how that works.
It's a signal. I don't know.
I don't know.
Electricity.
I don't even care though.
I mean, me either. That's the thing. And do I not care because I don't care? Do I not care because it's hard? And I've associated this like difficulty with like learning. And if I'm wrong, then I'm a fucking failure. I'm a loser because I got an F on my test.
Right.
Of geometry.
Yeah, God.
Like, come on.
It's and that you're.
Oh God, it's so hard for me not to get.
I know.
nasty
me too.
about it.
Me too.
But there's trauma there.
Yeah.
I mean, most of our lives we were forced to be in an institution that.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to a super liberal hippie college, and studied art in college. Gagged me with a spoon. God, don't get me started.
Yeah.
So I feel privileged and, thankful for that I, at least didn't feel propelled that I had to do something at a college level that I didn't want to do.
Right.
At least I was convicted enough in my interest. And, I was lucky that I found something that interested me as much as music has. That was something that I could channel my obsessive mind into, music. Like something to focus on.
Yeah.
Rather than I feel like a lot of people, I mean, maybe you could speak to this, but just like the plethora of options as a, whatever, like I said, I need to stop speaking.
Yeah.
So
we could go off.
This is a totally different topic.
Yeah. At some point we'll do the whole education system.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm gonna completely derail myself on that one.
So So I mean, that's really all I had is like, cleanse your space, do the bone broth thing, just reset in that way, and like, I mean, I am interested in like healing my gut and making sure that like I'm doing good things for my gut, and like, I mean, I do feel like I've got a little bit of that brain fog, which I know is related with an unbalanced gut. We're
gonna free up our intuition so much too.
Yeah.
To be able to let the gut intelligence speak.
Yeah.
Without being clouded by all the shit.
Yeah, and it's all connected. The gut, the nervous system. Getting you feeling to release that intuition. I feel like you've got to relax yourself out of that fight, flight, freeze response. And then, you can feel, am I afraid, or is this my intuition telling me like, this isn't the direction to go, because I feel like when I was a kid, like that gut instinct was there. It was a physical feeling. It was a punch in the gut kind of thing. And I mean, I knew it. And like, now it's like, I question it. I'm like, am I afraid, or is this really like my body talking to me? Or like, I mean, obviously it's my body talking to me, but what's it saying? Like, I don't know anymore.
Yeah. And we've also like clouded a lot of that experience as like anxiety. We've kind of demonized that as like something that's happening to us.
Yeah.
Rather than like, I remember in the Breakthrough Consciousness podcast, I had a pretty decent metaphor of like, when an emotion comes up, like anxiety, is that safe to call anxiety an emotion?
We can go with it for now.
It's like you're in a car and a light comes on your dash, a warning light. Hey, you need to get an oil change. And I feel like our approach to, I'm grateful that we are having mental health conversations in the mainstream now, and it's not stigmatized as much as it was when we were kids. You know, even when we were in school, like people weren't talking about the way kids are now.
No.
Which is a good thing. There's also shadows to that, I'm sure.
Sure.
But it is a good thing. I would like to propel that and extend that conversation. And again, this is a whole nother topic. But, you know, are we recognizing that as a warning? Are we going to hear that message? Or are we just trying to turn the light off?
Yeah.
Are we going to get the oil change? Are we going to figure out what's bothering us?
Right.
Or are we just trying to shut off the bad feelings?
Right.
You know?
Are we dealing with the symptoms instead of the root?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which goes into the whole Western approach to medicine.
I wasn't going to say it.
So there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot.
But, you know,
so,
it's part of the game. So
yeah. I think this is really just... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just riffing.
I was just going to, you know, kind of start wrapping it up by saying, like, this cleanse I really want... I almost don't want to call it a cleanse. I want to call it something else. Maybe, like, a reset. Reframe. We could... Yeah, you know, like, I just really want it to be about, like, getting my shit together.
Get your shit together is literally what I was about to say.
Just get my shit together, you know? And it's like... You can, I see it so clearly sometimes, and then, you know, I slide back into habit and stuff, and it's like, it's spring now, it's the fucking new moon, like, it's time to do something. It's the Aries new moon, like, it's the beginning of the astrological year, like, it's time to get the shit rolling, you know?
Yeah.
And, it's, if we don't do anything, it's never gonna happen.
Or it's gonna happen in ways that we don't prefer.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah, let's do it.
So here's to getting our shit together and knowing that progress is not linear, and that we will backslide, and we'll get our shit back together and keep moving on.
Yeah, I mean, you know, just to anchor into something that, in one regard, I kind of feel myself diminishing in energy thinking about this, because part of that ego is flaring up and realizing that it's going to have to put itself to rest. I think that could be, you know, you and I had a forgiveness ceremony a few weeks ago that was really powerful, and in a lot of ways we've kind of distracted ourselves from that energy a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that's something to continue the momentum that we started that fire, to keep stoking that, fueling that with, like, maybe on the full moon, you know, doing like some sort of like ceremonial funeral for our lower selves type stuff that we've sort of talked about before, and I think don't really know what that would look like.
Yeah.
You know, but I think it's something that, even just something small, it doesn't have to be a super big.
It doesn't have to.
We don't have to put on our black suits. Don't have to sing Johnny Cash.
No.
Or maybe that's what we will do. Sing some Johnny Cash.
That'd be fun.
Just like burn something.
Paper. You know? Yeah.
Or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm just.
Or get rid of something, or like donate something that represents, you know, like.
Yeah.
I mean, that's half of my wardrobe.
I know.
Stuff that's
I was
so
literally just thinking about this today. Like, most of my clothes I don't even like.
Yeah.
I mean, how much of it have I even worn in the last 2 years since I've moved with it 3 times?
Yeah. Do we feel resonant with it?
Yeah.
Do we feel like it's an expression? As much as I've like rejected that notion that fashion is a statement.
Yeah.
I mean, of course it is.
Yeah.
But I never wanted to play that game again.
Right.
Like, part of me that doesn't want to participate, you know, in the game of life. It's like, dude, whether you want to or not, you are expressing yourself.
Right.
If you show up looking like a bum, if you show up, you know, wearing something you wore in junior high, like I've been guilty of. This sweater's from probably at least college, if not high school.
Probably high school. That was a very.
Everything else is relatively new, but.
Yeah.
For me, I'm at a thrift store. I mean, whatever. But, you know, shift up your energy.
Yeah.
You know? Does it feel like it's a representation of you?
100% agree.
Yeah. Is it free flowing? Is it constricting?
Yeah.
Whatever. So, anyway, cool.
With those thoughts in mind.
Lots of play to engage. Cool.
Thank you, baby.
Yeah, thank you. And scene.
words I cannot explain. The ineffable